Hey folks, Quilly18 here, and welcome to some Let's Play Hearthstone Arena. Let's dive right in. It's been a long time since I've made any Hearthstone videos. I'm still playing Hearthstone relatively regularly, but usually, when I'm doing something else. Wow, I'm really unhappy. I would have really preferred, well, pretty much anything else. Paladin, Shaman, Mage, yeah, those are probably my three favorite classes. I feel like the Hunter is probably weak in the arena, just because Hunter decks these days rely on a lot of like combos and weirdness and things like that. Although their ability is pretty good at plonking down someone. I don't know. I'm not hugely keen on the Rogue in arenas either. The weapon play is not bad, but I think I'm going to go Priest, which is really annoying to play against in arena and can lead to slow games when you're playing as a Priest as well. But I feel like they're relatively strong. Okay, right off the bat, there's a few good picks. The Mind Control tech is interesting because the 3/3 for 3 is not awful. If his battle cry goes off, he's amazing. A lot of times it doesn't go off, so I don't prioritize it highly. I also really like the Azure Drake. The 4/4 for 5 is acceptable. The +1 spell damage can come in handy. The draw card is really good, but I think the Twilight Drake is probably the smartest and strongest pick here, especially since as a Priest you can afford to play a little bit slower and a little bit more fat, so there's a good chance that when you get down to your 4 mana, you'll have a lot of cards in hand to play a relatively beefy Twilight Drake. You're also in a good position to keep him alive. Although the Azure Drake, I think, would also be an okay pick. I just think Twilight is probably stronger. It's cheaper as well. You don't want to end up with too many Shadow Word Deaths and Shadow Word Pains, but you want to make sure you have some. So I think I'm actually going to grab one right now. Even though I'm a big fan, both of these are fine. But this is a great 2-drop. This is an okay 3-drop. But I want to make sure that I at least have one Shadow Word Death, and if it's the only one that's presented to me, I'll be in bad shape. Oh, I got a rare on my third card, which is always really nice to see. The Secret Keeper is obviously going to be a bad choice because I don't have any secrets as a Priest, and plus, in an arena deck, unless you've already grabbed like 3-4 secrets, which can happen if you're playing like a Hunter, for example, because they've got some really good general purpose secrets there, and if you see a Secret Keeper, then you'd be worthwhile taking. The Young Priestess is actually a pretty neat combo with the Priest because if you can give something enough health for it to survive one attack, then you can heal it, and then it just starts to become really quite insane. That being said, I think I'm going to go for the Shadow Madness because while it doesn't always work out that way, sometimes you can get 2 for 1 with it, and at the very least, you'll almost always be able to trade 1 for 1. You might not be able to use it like exactly when you draw it, but it's a pretty nice card that should hopefully help me stall out a little bit if need be, which tends to be good as a Priest. I don't like Mind Vision as well, at all. It does technically trade 1 for 1, but it could potentially give you a card that's not necessarily useful, although it does give you a hint as to what's in there. The Direwolf Alpha is not a really good fit for the deck. The War Golem is not necessarily a great card, but I think as a Priest, if you can go and drop that fat later on, it's going to be good, and I really think the other 2 cards are not good, although I do want to make sure I get some 2-drops at some point, but it's not too late at this point to just grab the War Golem. Okay, some decent picks here. I almost never take the Mogushan Warden on the basis that in most decks it's bad. 1 damage is not enough to really be a repellent, but the fact that you can keep this guy healed up and he will soak more than 1 attack is actually pretty nice as a Priest. Gnomish Inventor is always good, and it's interesting to like compare the two here. There's always a possibility you can do some funny healing things with the Gnomish Inventor and get a little bit more utility out of him, plus he does give you the card draw. We don't have any 2-drops yet. I don't think the Loot Hoarder is the type of card I normally get, although usually he can trade and kill something. The only annoying bit is when your opponent drops like a 2/3 Crocodile. That's like the only thing that really annoys you when you're playing a Loot Hoarder. Other than that, he's always really good because you can usually trade 1 for 1 and then draws a card. I think I have to start grabbing a 2 just to make sure I've got a few. And the Loot Hoarder is acceptable, even though I really think the other 2 cards would also be quite good. Oh, this is a hard set. Dark Iron Dwarf is freaking-tastic. The Mad Bomber is also really good and can sometimes trade exceptionally well. Often killing something if you play him on turn 2, often killing a minion on the other side. And we already have a Shadow Word Death. Getting a second one is not terrible. In fact, it can be really good, but I think I need to grab some creatures. God, the Dark Iron Dwarf is really good. Less good if you don't have something else to buff, of course. I think I'm going to take the Mad Bomber. I like the early plays a little bit here. Northshire Cleric, I think, is a no-brainer. The Voodoo Doctor is almost always bad. If you drop him on turn 1, his Battle Cry does nothing. Murloc Raider is obviously, he's just a 2-1. He's exactly the same as the Voodoo Priest, but doesn't have any Battle Cry whatsoever. A 1-3 is nice because it can often trade with something and not necessarily die. Sometimes, against a 3-2, obviously, it's a little bit worse, but the ability of the Cleric is super, super strong if you get to do any of it. Mind Blast is not great because it can only target enemy heroes. The Rifleman is nice, and I don't have a 3-drop right now, but I think I'd actually be happier with the River Crocolisk. And then I gotta stop taking 2-drops. I don't have a 3, but to me, he's just not strong enough. The River Croc is better. Well, alright, some excellent choices here. The Direwolf Alpha is not bad, although, again, not great as just a plain old vanilla 2-drop, like something you play on the second turn. He really needs other things around. That's not the kind of deck that I'm probably building. Second Shadow Word Death is not bad, but Power Word Shield is very good. I mean, it's a good card in general because it does let you draw cards, so it's pay 1 to just get 2 health without paying a card almost. So it's always good, and it synergizes really well with all the other priest stuff, so I'm definitely going to grab that. So this is our... Ooh, actually, I don't think this is a rare that's on our normal schedule here, because I think we get a guaranteed rare as our first 15th, and 30th pick, so a little bit lucky there. Second chance is getting a Young Priestess, which is not bad if you can protect her for a turn. We don't really have any cheap taunt right now, so not really an option. The Emperor Cobra is fun because it always trades 1-for-1. I think the Auchenai Soul Priest is probably the better pick here, even though we don't have a 3-drop yet, which does suck. But the ability to turn your healing abilities into damage dealing is pretty strong when you can sort of do it on command. The Emperor Cobra is really good, don't get me wrong, but I think the Soul Priest is kind of the way to go. So again, we get an opportunity to grab our second Shadow Word Death. Wisp is terrible. Thoughtsteal is acceptable. Again, there's a possibility that you'll get cards that don't synergize with what you're doing at all. I mean, yeah, you could grab something good, or you could grab something crap, and the worst of it is sometimes you'll grab something that's normally good, but is crap for you because it doesn't work with what you have. Like if I grab something that works with weapons. I think I'm going to grab that second Shadow Word Death so we get a couple of removals for big creatures. I don't want any more than that, though. Temple Enforcer is quite nice because it's not healing by 3, it's actually +3 health to something. Nightblade I don't like, and the Voodoo Doctor is pretty crap, so the Temple Enforcer is going to be the way to go. Another Temple Enforcer possibility, I think I'm going to stay away from that for now. The Flesh-Eating Ghoul could give us our 3-drop, which is probably what I'm going to take. The Lightspawn's not bad. What's funny about the Lightspawn is it's sort of like a 5/5 for 4. Which makes it better than a Yeti. The problem is that it takes damage. It also deals less damage. It does synergize pretty well with the priest stuff, like with Power Word Shield, obviously. And so in that way, the Lightspawn is pretty strong. But I think I would like to... excuse me. Caught in my throat there. I think I would like to get a Ghoul just for a 3-drop, just because it sort of fits in there. And there's always a possibility that it could actually keep the Ghoul alive and have it become relatively scary. Mostly the Ghoul is usually something that the opponent must kill. I guess a 2-3 for 3 is not great. Like, I was saying some things, but I'm realizing a 2-3 for 3 is not great, and I'm not going to have a bajillion little minions early on to just throw away and have this grow. You know what? I will grab the Lightspawn, but I'm really looking for that 3-drop. Well, there's an Ironforge Rifleman, and I think now's the time to get it, even though Circle of Healing is pretty decent. Works better if you've got combos, though. It's really good and constructed because you can do funny things with like the Injured Blade Master and whatever. And I would like a taunt, but and the Sen'jin Shield Master is really good. And I guess I may be overly worried about having a 3-drop because I do have 1 casting cost plays, so I could go 1 casting cost play plus a heal on my 3rd turn. But let's go ahead and pick this up, just to make sure we've got a little bit of a mana curve possibility. Another Shadow Word Death I'm going to ignore. Bluegill Warrior is actually pretty good, because he can also double as like an Arcane Shot or something later on, because he comes out with charge, so you can often trade 1-for-1. But I've got some decent 2s, and a Spellbreaker is fantastic. So we're going to do that. Okay. So the Divine Spirit is like the super awesome priest combo kind of nonsense, right? You Power Word Shield something, then you Divine Spirited. I guess you can use it with a Lightspawn too, and becomes very, very, very strong. And the Stranglethorn Tiger is actually pretty good as well. I don't have a 5 yet, and 5/5 for 5 is decent, and with Stealth is great because it ensures that it's sort of like a delayed charge in a way. It's hard for the opponent to do anything to your Tiger before it gets a chance to attack, which does make it good. I'm going to find it really hard to ignore the second Northshire Cleric, though. The Clerics are so nice. I'm going to do that. Like, the card draw is just fantastic. If you can guarantee yourself one at the start of the game, it's great. And every now and again, you get 2 out early on. Okay, so we've got a couple of options for taunts. I'm actually tempted to go with the Shield Master, even though I don't have a 5 casting cost card yet. The Shield Master, I think, synergizes a little bit better with the Priest because the +1 health. Also comes out slightly sooner, or cheaper, so you can cast this and something else. So I'm going to go with that. But I actually am a fan of the Bodyguard as well. Not a fan of the Nightblade so much. Okay, Raging Worgen does not... The Enrage effect does go away if it's healed. It's not like one of those things, like the 2/7 that gets bonus to attack every time it takes damage. It's different. So I'm not sure that the Worgen synergizes super well with the deck, although it's another decent 3-drop. Inner Fire is, again, one of the combos with different things. The Holy Nova, though, is just so strong. I can't not take Holy Nova. The removal possibilities are fantastic, and the heal is pretty good, too. All right, some half-decent things. It's funny because each one of these sort of summons a secondary creature. Just the Harvest Golem does it after it dies. The Harvest Golem is one of the best cards in the game, though, so I definitely want to take that. Plus, I'm lacking on 3 creatures, so it fits in very well. We actually got a rare here for our 19th pick, or I guess sort of our 20th card. Shadow Form has won me way too many games for me to ignore it, I think. The Warlock Warlater is crap, obviously. The Faceless Manipulator can be really good. Sometimes you don't really get something good to clone, which is the only reason I'm hesitating there. And it sucks that I don't have much in the way of fat. And this sort of doubles as a fat because your opponent plays something, you copy it, and then you, I don't know, Shadow Word Death their copy or something. But I really like Shadow Form, so I'm going to take that. I really enjoy it. I think we're going to go for the second Holy Nova. Holy Nova is good. Holy Nova is really good. Other than that, I'd probably take the Bodyguard over the Core Hound. But I'm hoping for another big fat creature. A cheap Taunter here is actually going to be really good because I think it can protect some things that we'd really like. And it's got the same base stats as the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, and the Flesh-Eating Ghoul a lot of times doesn't really get to use its ability, whereas the Taunt is always going to be handy. I don't count on the Enrage, but the Taunt can help a lot. So we'll get that. Archmage, I guess, starts to double as a little bit of fat. We've already got a Silence, and a Silence that we can actually technically heal. The Nightblade, again, I'm not hugely keen on. I think I'm going to grab the Archmage. This plus a Holy Nova could actually be a little bit scary. There's not a whole lot else that I've got going on there, but I think I'm going to grab it. It's also nice and tough, which means a lot of heal potential. It's not a great card. So we got a cheap free Silence. I do have the Silence creature, which I'm generally going to prefer. I think we're going to go for the River Croc list. I don't need to let the first turn plays, especially since I've got 2 Northshire Clerics anyway. So River Croc is good. I was actually going to make my second one. I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. Some more pretty high-end creatures. Now, I've already talked about the Temple Enforcer I'm quite keen on. I mean, you can compare it to the War Golem, right? It's 1 cheaper, and it's 1 weaker in both health and attack, but that's still pretty fat, and this Battlecry has got some real potential. The Frostwolf Warlord could potentially be... If I had 2 creatures out, then it becomes as strong as a Temple Enforcer for 1 less. But that's if I have 2. Potentially I could have more, but the odds of that start to become increasingly poor. So I think I'm actually going to go with the Temple Enforcer. And now I'm pretty happy that I've got a fair number of pretty decent heavy-duty drops. These are all really interesting. It's funny because they're all cards that synergize pretty well with Priesty kind of thing. Tempted to go with another Soul Priest. However, the Soul Priest and the Shadow Form is a little bit redundant. And actually, the Soul Priest and the Holy Novas don't work out at all. So I'm not tempted to get this at all anymore, now that I think about it. The Light Warden obviously combos well with a fair, decent number of things. Now, clearly, if I'm Shadow Forming or if I've got the Soul Priest out, then not so much. But you're not going to have it out most of the game. That being said, I think that the Young Priestess might actually be a better pick right now. Because there's a chance I could get a Young Priestess and a Northshire Cleric out at the same time. And, well, that means that I'd be encouraged to make Light Warden really big. What Young Priestess does, it helps the Northshire Clerics stay alive. And these are both become much higher priority must-kill targets. There's a chance that Light Warden just won't get to proc because things will get... it'll get killed too fast, or, you know, something else will get one shot. And, yeah, and then I won't be able to heal. That's the thing. If the opponent is able to either kill the Light Warden first or just outright kill the other target without allowing me to heal it, then it doesn't really do anything. So I'm going to grab the Young Priestess. We're actually going to have a fair amount of cheap stuff, which is a little bit unusual. We get another rare in here. Mana Wraith is not great. And we actually did end up with a relatively minion-heavy deck, which is usually pretty good. Emperor Cobra, I do like. Again, it's almost guaranteed to go 1-for-1. But the Sunwalker is fantastic. We do have a lot of stuff at the high end, but as a priest, I think we're going to be okay like that. And the Sunwalker is pretty good. Mind Control we have to take. Even at 10, it's stupendously strong. And I think I would like another Power Word Shield, actually. I've got 3 3s. And even if I Shadow Form that early, it's not so bad. Obviously, I don't want to Shadow Form if I've got my Northshire Cleric out. And that's the thing. Once I Shadow Form, the Cleric becomes less good. Certainly. But it's still okay. And frankly, the Cleric can still proc off of the Holy Nova, unless I've got an Aconite Priest. There's some missed synergy, some unsynergy in my deck. But anyway, with all that, I'm going to grab another Power Word Shield. Okay, this is my last pick. We could grab another Sunwalker, which is good. Another Shadow Madness. Shadow Madness is a little bit situational. When it's good, it's great. But sometimes you can't play it, and I certainly don't want my hand clogged with 2. Master Swordsmith starts to become really interesting, though, because there's a lot of possibility for me to just keep a bunch of stuff alive that's getting buffed by the Young Priestess, by the Master Swordsmith. I do have a lot of 6s already, including 2 Temple Enforcers, 1 Sunwalker, 1 Archmage. I don't think a 5th one would make sense. It's too likely that I'll end up with a bunch of stuff I can't cast. I like the idea with going to Master Swordsmith. I think it might actually end up being a half-decent combo going on. So let's hit play and see what we do. We may have turned out to be a terrible, terrible deck. I don't know. Now, I haven't played that much since the system got reset and the new ladder system goes. Like, I've finished at the 9 wins before. But since the new system has come in, I've certainly not gone beyond that. In fact, I don't even know if I've hit 9 since then. I haven't played that many games. So it'll be interesting to see how far this deck goes. I think the fact that I got that unsynergy is actually going to screw me. And maybe I should have given more thought. I don't know. I can't remember the order that I got all the cards in. But I think it went like Soul Priest into Northshire Cleric. And at that point, it's fine. It's like 1 Soul Priest. Frankly, they don't tend to live very long. But the Shadow Madness, or sorry, the Shadow Form does not synergize with the Cleric. But at that point, I think that was the only thing I had that sort of procced on heal. So it was still kind of okay. And then I got the second one. And maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know. Here we go. Decent start. I don't think we need to start with the Spellbreaker in hand. But, you know, we only have the 1 silence. Let's keep it around. It would be nice, and actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's drop one of the 2s. Actually, I suppose I could drop 2 of them and see if we can't get one of our good 1-drops. This gets pinged right away with the Mage, just less of a priority. Spellbreaker could be a pain. It could be critical, but no, let's go ahead and go for a deeper mulligan, see if we can get a turn 1 play. No, and actually that's probably less good overall. I don't know, the River Crocs aren't going to be terrible for us. There we go. Hey, hey, hey. We gave ourselves as much opportunity as possible to start with a Northshire Cleric. Okay, so, I don't know, it still can't kill me next turn. Actually, hold on. Let's ping that and heal. Take the 1 draw where we can. And keep that thing alive. Means less board presence, but it's not terrible. We got that Shadow Word Death a little soon. I like having the Holy Nova, though. Which we can play on turn 5, or if we can delay it 2 turns, we can go Archmage, and then we'd be in a good position for another one. Yeah, definitely a lack of board presence. Oh, Young Priestess is going to get pinged instantly. But it will buff her a little bit. Actually, if it buffs, either one is okay. It would be nicer if it buffed the Northshire Cleric, but I do want to get some more creatures on board. So let's go and do this. And that. And attack for 1. Yeah, figured. Oh well. Because now this can get Frostbolted. Although if she had a Frostbolt in hand, she would have done it last turn. Although if she pings my my Priestess, it means she's not going to be able to cast any other spell. It's probably still a decent move. But it doesn't look like that's what's happening. Interesting. Oh, that's good. Well played. It'd be nice to Holy Nova right now. So I can kill both images, and then leaving it with a 4/3. That will become a 5/3. Although that can be Shadow Word Death at that point. I could actually just not attack. I don't have a taunt, though. It's an interesting possibility. If I didn't attack, then on her turn, probably ping this, making it a 3/3, and then killing that. Maybe 4. Yeah, that would be poor. But I was going to say, then I could, like, Holy Nova or some nonsense. So we'll deal with it. I don't want to put up the light spawn, though. Or do I? She could kill the light spawn, but then that would leave the rest of my stuff alive. You know what? That's fine. Here. Because what you can do is... that's unfortunate. If that had procced on my light spawn, it would have been sick. Because she can ping my priestess and make the her monster a 5/3 that can trade for the light spawn. But that would leave me other stuff on the board. You could whip out some frost stuff. You're 1 turn, no, 2 turns from a blizzard, because blizzard now costs 6, which I keep forgetting about. Apparently, if I keep clicking this, it'll go into a leopard spot pattern. The taunt does make my life a little bit more complicated. Ooh, zebra. What is that? Oh, Elven Archer for that kill. All right. Now you're going for the light spawn? Or something else. If you go something else, that's fine with me. Okay. That is okay because I can Holy Nova. So, I want to do this first. Then Holy Nova. And that. Leaving me with pretty damn good board control. I could have also Shadow Word Deathed the minion when it got too big, or the skeleton zombie. What is it called? Ghoul. That's the word I'm looking for. The flesh-eating ghoul. I could have Shadow Word Deathed it because it had gotten high enough, but there was no point in doing that. There you go. That shrinks that down, although I can heal it back up to 5. We're still 2 turns from a Flame Strike. I think I'm going to do that. And actually heal this. And then hit for 4. And then get down the Shield Master, which can still be ping Flame Strike. I'm in a pretty good position to drop a big Holy Nova again, though, which makes me very happy. Or Shadow Word Death. That works too. Now, I'm going to avoid, like, overcasting on the board because I don't want to... because if I could put down the Crocodile now, that's just more stuff that can get Flame Striked. No need to do that. I've got great board control. I've got another Holy Nova. I've got another Taunt. Some good replacement creatures. GG. Priests in Arena are pretty good. Not OP, though. They're more tedious than anything else, and they require a different play style. When you're playing against a priest, you have to change the way you play, and that's really the big thing. Mages are definitely more dangerous. Priests can be more annoying, and they get a bad rap in Arena because of that, but they're definitely not that strong. Find me an opponent, please, please, please. Thank you very much. So we'll do a second game on this video and then put in a cut. Wow, long time to matchmake here. It's Saturday afternoon. Come on, more people should be playing games. What are you out, like, outside or something crazy like that? Foolishness. Now, the worst thing is when you go priest versus priest. They take forever. And Warlock is interesting. Now, it's always nice to damage a Warlock as early as possible, which, actually, we do have a nice drop. Oh, we start. So the 1 casting cost card is less valuable. I'm going to do this. Because if we can get another 2, then I can go coin 2. Well, I could save my coin. No, you know what? We'll see if we can't get a Northshire Cleric instead. If I get that, then I don't coin. Now, if he pays an imp, play an imp in your first turn. Okay, that's not the imp I meant. But we might get lucky. I think it's 50-50. Yeah, there's 50% chance on average of killing this imp with the Mad Bomber. Come on. Oh, so lucky. Well, like I said, 50-50, right? It's not like pure luck box. It's half the time that's what's going to happen. Because, yeah, on average, like 1/3 of the hits will go to the Warlock, and 1/3 will go to the minion on board. And then the last one is basically 50-50 is like one way to think about it. I mean, that's the way I sort of like think about the numbers, is I visualize that concept, but there's lots of ways that you can actually do the math and figure out exactly how it's supposed to work. So I think I'm just going to, oh, it'd be nice to master Swordsmith. And have it apply, but it's just going to get killed anyway. So no, I'm going to trade and then go Crocolisk. Yeah. Mad Bomber did its job. Plus, if he had like a Shattered Sun Cleric or something like that, I don't want to leave anything on the board. That's why board control is very important. If you leave someone with nothing, it means they can't buff on their turn. And it keeps momentum very, very strongly on your side. So next turn I can go Harvest Golem, but I'd probably go Swordsmith, even though it leaves me with 1 mana. Because a 3/3 Crocolisk can get a lot of stuff done. Now see, now he can't actually kill anything, although he could kill the Priestess, which would enrage him. Although ironically then I could heal him. Well, there's no point in playing the Priestess, I think, is what it comes down to. I could also go Harvest Golem. I guess he can attack my Swordsmith for the Enrage regardless. Yeah. Let's do that. It could end up being a really nice combo. We'll just hit him. And a lot will depend on exactly what these things proc. Alright. That's interesting. We're 2 turns from a Holy Nova as well if something comes up. Doesn't mean he can buff this, but there was no way for me to do enough damage to kill it this turn. I think this was stronger. Maybe. I do 2 damage to him. Makes it harder for him to life tap, which is always good if you can pull it off. It is interesting that I can use my Priest powers to cancel his Enrage. I'm just sort of tickled by that. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's an idea. So what does he become? Yeah, +3. So he's going to be 5 damage and either 2 or 1 health, depending on who he decides to attack. If I were him, I would attack and kill the Priestess, because then any attack I do on my side will basically kill my dude, except for the fact that then, yeah, I'll just heal his Berserker and then kill it with the Crocolisk. So funny. Doesn't leave me with a play to put a creature down, but that's okay, because it still leads to a rough card advantage. Now, what is he going to do? Dude, you only have 4 cards. Well, looks like he's really seriously thinking between 2. Ah. Alright. Alright, well in that case, I'm going to have to sacrifice my Priestess and then kill the Wind Fury guy. Because I have to kill the Wind Fury guy. And probably do that. Now, he might have, if he's got Mortal Coil, that's going to be kind of annoying. Other than that, I'm okay. Again, I should have some pretty decent fat late game. Although, if he starts life tapping, then I'll be in much, much worse situation. Yeah, there we go. because he's going to gain some card advantage like that, which is very dangerous. It's tempting to Holy Nova. Because it would kill both his creatures. Otherwise, I could kill the Abusive Sergeant. You know, I think I like the idea. Because I'm not going to be Holy Novaing again, probably. He's probably not going to be dropping tons of little creatures. You know what? Let's do that. Hurts him some more. Does that. Discourage him from the life tapping. Next turn, we go Temple Enforcer and toughen up our Crocolisk a little bit more. Probably. Could potentially put down a taunt as well. Depends on entirely what he plays. If I can kill it with a buffed Crocolisk, then I'll do that. Otherwise, I'll put down the Sunwalker to taunt, perhaps. I've got pretty good control over the board, though. He's going to be very hard-pressed to... Well, he's got 6 mana. He could have something really fat in there. Actually, a Sunwalker would probably be the most annoying thing he could play. Well, no, if he Sunwalkers, then I Temple Enforcer and pop the shield, and that's fine, too. Wow! Sorry, dude. It's unfortunate that I can't kill you with that. Actually... Well, I can't kill you and have my guys survive. But yeah, I could trade the Crocolisk, ping it with the Rifleman for 1, and then play the Harvest Golem, and I would have a 2-3 and a 2-2 to an empty board. That's not bad. I could Temple Enforcer my Crocolisk and almost kill that. I could put down the Sunwalker and then just go for the face. That's the other possibility. Sunwalker to be able to taunt, just hit him directly. And then next turn, the Sunwalker can kill this. Probably? I don't like leaving him with something on the board, but I'm hard-pressed to think of something he could do. He could have the spell that insta-kills something, but even if he has a Shadow Bolt, anything like that, I'll be okay. Let's do that. Let's go with Sunwalker and just hit him in the face. Okay. God damn, this game has huge problems with things not being positioned correctly. You think that that would be the first... I know it's still in a beta, okay, but you think that that would be something that you would notice and make high priority right from the beginning? It can't possibly be that hard to fix. I've gotten screwed so many games in a row by my hands and my card not being in the right order, and sometimes the cards on the board not being in the right order, right? And then I drop down the guy that gives +1/+1 and taunt to both adjacent creatures, and have it only do 1 creature because apparently they weren't positioned actually where it looked like they were positioned. Like, of all the things to just get right. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. Alright, I definitely want to Sunwalker his Frostwolf Warlord thing. And then I'll probably Temple Enforcer my Crocolisk and kill the Wind Fury guy. Leaves me with pretty solid position. He could Shadow Bolt the Crocolisk at this point, but I'm willing to accept that. And I still have tons of cards in hand. I've got board control right now and tons of cards in hand. Even if he somehow wipes the board with something. Like Deathwing, right? That kills everything. Or something like that. And that would be rough. I think it's a more expensive card. I should be okay. Drain life. Okay. That and Immortal Coil. So it costs you 3 cards, well, -1 for the draw to kill 1, so 2 for 1. And then you're life tapping, which I guess you have to find a solution. But honestly, you're probably just going to die here. You can do 9 as is. Well, I can't kill him this turn. Just trying to figure out, like... I should probably go for a little bit more board clear. He could pull a Power Overwhelming and hit for a lot of damage. But I think mostly I just want lots of creatures on the board. I should just go for face. You know, let's hit him for 6. And then kill that. There, now he can't actually clear the board, and I'll hit him for 1 more. Can't possibly imagine him doing anything to me that would save him. I guess if you drew a Hellfire... Well, no. Then I still beat him. Alright, GG. So we're at 2-0. See you guys next time.